The sun hung low over the bustling market of Zemar, casting golden light on merchants shouting their best offers. Spices filled the air with an exotic aroma, gold and silver sparkled in traders' hands, and fabric stalls fluttered like colorful flags in the desert wind. Among the crowd, a man draped in a dark cloak walked with measured steps. His face was partially hidden under a hood, but his eyes, sharp as a falcon's, scanned everything. He was a traveler, known only by whispers and rumors. Some called him a thief, others a trickster, and a few claimed he was a genius. As he moved, he paused by an old jeweler's stall. Inside the glass case was a golden coin unlike any other. It shimmered unnaturally, as if the sun itself was trapped inside. The jeweler, an old man with a long gray beard, watched the traveler with suspicion. "Ah, you have good taste," the jeweler said, voice hoarse from years of bargaining. "This is the coin of kings. It is said that whoever possesses it will never run out of wealth." The traveler smirked. "A wonderful story. And how much does this miracle cost?" The jeweler leaned forward. "More than what you carry in that pouch, I imagine." The traveler chuckled, tossing a single silver piece onto the counter. "I'll return for it." Then, without another word, he disappeared into the crowd. But even as he walked away, his mind was already working. He had seen the coin's reflection in the jeweler's eyes. It was no ordinary gold. It was something far more dangerous. That night, as the moon cast pale light over Zemar, the traveler sat alone in a small inn, drinking quietly. The coin of kings was a legend, but if it was real, there were others who would be after it. Just as he finished his drink, the hairs on the back of his neck stood up. Someone was watching him. Keeping his movements slow, he reached for his dagger and turned slightly. In the farthest corner of the inn, a figure in a dark red robe sat with their face completely hidden. They hadn't ordered food, nor spoken to anyone. They were waiting for him. He pretended not to notice and stood, heading toward the exit. The moment he stepped into the empty alleyway, a blade slashed through the air, barely missing his throat. Instinct took over. He dodged to the side, grabbing his attacker's wrist and twisting it. The dagger clattered to the ground. He pinned the figure against the wall, pulling back the hood. A woman glared at him with emerald green eyes. Her face was young, but there was something hardened about her, a warrior's gaze. "Who sent you?" he asked. She smirked. "I don't work for anyone, but I know what you're after. And trust me, you don't want it." "Really? And why is that?" "Because," she whispered, "it's not a coin, it's a curse." The woman, who introduced herself as Saria, led the traveler through the winding backstreets of Zemar. Eventually, they stopped at an old abandoned temple, where she pushed open a heavy stone door. Inside, ancient murals covered the walls, depicting kings rising to power, only to be consumed by shadows. "The coin of kings doesn't grant wealth," Saria explained, brushing dust off one of the murals. "It takes it. Whoever holds it becomes rich beyond measure, but their life is slowly drained away." The traveler studied the murals closely. In one, a once mighty king lay in ruins, his wealth intact but his body reduced to bones. "It's a trick," he muttered. "You never truly own the coin. It owns you." Saria nodded. "That's why the last king who had it sealed it away. If it falls into the wrong hands..." A loud crash echoed through the temple. They weren't alone. Before they could react, figures in dark armor stormed into the temple. They carried swords with blackened steel and moved with deadly precision. Saria immediately reached for her weapon, but the traveler raised a hand. "Wait!" One of the soldiers stepped forward. He had a scarred face and a smirk that reeked of arrogance. Well, the man sneered. We finally found you, little thief. Saria looked confused. You know him. The traveler sighed. Unfortunately. The soldier stepped closer, drawing his sword. Hand over the coin. A smirk played on the traveler's lips. What coin? The soldier scowled. Don't play games with me? The king has ordered your head. Without warning, the traveler threw a handful of dust into the soldier's eyes. In the same motion, he kicked over a stone pillar, sending debris crashing down. Run, he shouted, grabbing Saria's hand. Together, they sprinted through the temple's hidden tunnels, the sounds of their pursuers close behind. They reached the city outskirts just as dawn broke. The traveler slowed his steps, his mind racing. He turned to Saria. We can't just run forever, she said. What's your plan? A grin formed on his lips. We give them what they want. Saria blinked. Excuse me. The king wants the coin of kings, so we let him have it. She frowned. But the coin is still with the jeweler. He shook his head. The king doesn't know that. And with that, he pulled out an identical gold coin from his pocket. Saria gasped. You had a fake this whole time? He chuckled. A wise man always has a trick up his sleeve. That night, they infiltrated the palace, leaving the fake cursed coin in the king's chambers. By morning, rumors spread that the king had mysteriously fallen ill, his body growing weaker by the hour. The true coin of kings remained locked away in the old jeweler's stall, forgotten once more. And as for the traveler? He disappeared into the night, his pockets full of gold and a satisfied smirk on his lips. Because in the end, true wealth wasn't in gold. It was in wisdom.